Hello, this is Mind the Gap, and I'm your host, Tim Dunn.
Please mind the gap.
If you listened to the very first series of Mind the Gap, and if you didn't, go on, do go and download it now, they're just lovely. You'll have heard how every element of our transport network, from town announcements to architecture, is the result of over 160 years of dedication by staff and Londoners alike. But if there's one thing that cannot stand still, it's the transport system. It's always evolving to better serve the city and its people. This year, there's a really exciting project to help customers now and in the future, and that's going to mean evolution in real life and on maps of the London Overground.
Every time I head home on the train to London, I go past Wembley and I just smile because it just has so many memories, and the legacy that we've created there at Wembley, at the home of football, it's incredible. And to be part of a special team that did that, I'm very proud.
Today, we're on the line that runs from Watford Junction to Euston. It's the new Lioness line. Football is something that is embedded into our country's DNA. Week in and week out, communities and trains are often filled with fans with the chants and the pride and revelry they've got. Football apparently was even mentioned back by Shakespeare in 1594's Comedy of Errors. So perhaps it's unsurprising that the line that runs right past Wembley Stadium is paying homage to the most successful senior team since 1966, the Lionesses. But the story of women's football in England is a lot more complex than it might first seem. And what has the impact of our current Lionesses been on the women and girls who, let's face it, are the future of football? Cards on the table though, between you and me, I don't know a single thing about football, not the men or the women's game. So I'm going on this journey to find out along with you. So I'm on the Overground right now, on the way up to Euston, because we're getting the main line train up to St George's Park near Burton-upon-Trent, to the England National Football Centre, to meet some of the actual players from the England women's football team, the real-life Lionesses.
Euston. This train terminates here. All change, please.
We are a long way from the middle of London right now, and in fact, spreading out in front of me is the vast St George's Park on the hillside. My goodness, I didn't expect this actually as well, but I'm actually quite excited. I'm stoked for this, because some of you will know them, but I am learning fast, because two of the current Lionesses have agreed to speak with us. Leah Williamson, who's the captain, and Chloe Kelly. And these two, frankly, exceptional athletes were not only instrumental in winning the Women's Euros in 2022, but they've also played a vital role in fighting for equality, both on and off the pitch. And so they've been advocating for better pay and worked with young people right across the country and beyond. And of course, they've been changing hearts and minds with their extraordinary football. We wanted to follow you guys and talk about the Lioness line around it, but the more I've looked into it, because I haven't been familiar with you guys at all, I've been kind of going click, oh my God, click, oh my goodness. You've done what? You've achieved what? You've done what? I mean, you're not just overachievers. Both of you, in fact, all of your team, what you're achieving is fantastic. So let's just start with this, because how would you feel sitting here right now being told, yeah, we've named an overground line after you guys, or, and your team? How does it feel?
I think it's one of the things that really cements how much impact we've had on society. Like we've always said that, and before the Euros we spoke about it, because before a tournament we'll sit down and we'll go through our goals, and teams are realistic, teams are dreamers. Like obviously the dream was always to win the Euros, but we talk about what we want to get out of it. We had a home tournament, which is like that doesn't come around often, like whether we'll ever play in one again in our lifetime. And we always talk about legacy, and we were like, that never get tired of that. But at the same time, we really wanted to win. But then in in the same breath, we just did all of this, like the world just changed that summer. And then I think this is another one of those things that comes off the back of it, and you think, you know, like the impact, okay, I get that doesn't have an impact on people's lives so much, but it does to the young girl that then, when we were kids, you couldn't be a professional footballer. Like, if you just think about that concept, it wasn't a thing. So now, I don't know, I just think when it makes me feel proud, because it means that we've had an impact, and we're much more far-reaching than sport.
I think it also shows that we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. It's incredible to see how far the game's come, but now young girls are jumping on that line, going to watch games. And in the past, we've had to really fight to be in the position that we're in, people that have played before us. So I think it's a really proud moment. And yeah, hopefully jump on that line and go and watch a few games ourselves.
So it's a whole new world for me, and kind of going voyage of discovery into football. You both the things you've achieved in and out of the game as well, and inspiring people. And it's often used that word kind of a bit too much, I suppose, inspiring, right? But you are inspiring people, and the change you're having already must be. See, you're feeling proud of it. What's your hope for the future? Do you think you'll carry on inspiring people?
I think there's so much left to do. Like, we're aware of that. We know how far we've come, as Chloe says, but there's so much further to go. And we've always said that we kind of feel like women's sport really reflects women in society. Like, naturally, you know, we are women, but the things that we face, or the things that we maybe think need equaling up or balancing out, they're common themes that run through society as well. So the conversations that we have, like, I never watched before and now I do, or I just used to run a girls team because my daughter wanted to play, and now I have 7 teams and 150 girls and craziness like that. But I think, like, ultimately, although we're a different sport to men's football, you have a benchmark of where that is. So until that was completely equal, you'll always feel like you have room to progress within sport. But I think outside of it, like what we've done in schools and the perception of women, I feel like that's again, until that's balanced in society, until women get paid the same as men, until they have all the same rights and protections as their male counterpart, then there will be stuff to do.
And I think we know that it's not going to change overnight, and we have to keep making steps forward for that change. And selling out Wembley, that's a step in the right direction. And I think we know that there's still a long way to go, but if we can keep improving and selling out them stadiums, keeping bums on seats, then we know that the next generation have another job to do of keep improving that. So I think it's really important that we don't take our foot off the gas because we've come so far. I think we need to keep going until we get exactly what we deserve.
And that's Lionesses, as well as players in your home teams, I guess, as well, right? And wherever you are doing it. And I didn't know there wasn't a professional element to the game. There wasn't allowed to be one till recently. And I'm like, what? I mean, and I think perhaps that's a journey that people are going to go on in London as well, going like, they didn't know this.
We bring it up a lot because ultimately the organisation that is the FA now that support us and have given us what we needed to go and achieve what we wanted to achieve, they were the same organisation that once banned us for 50 years. So if you look at immediate change within our workplace, like, we've obviously done a lot, but I also say a lot of the time, like, I'm so proud to be a part of the generation that we're part of. Like, we both started, me and Chloe both used to play for Arsenal and come through like to the first team around the same time. There's players in that team when I first joined that had 2 jobs, and I've seen that.
Yeah, and seeing the older players try and juggle them 2 jobs, whereas we've only known this way. But to see the older players doing that, it took a lot of commitment. And even when I was at Arsenal playing full-time, but I went to Everton, who was only part-time at the time, and it was so different for me. But understanding and seeing there was teachers finishing school and just coming to train in the evening, I'm like, wow, like, it's so different to even at Arsenal at the time where it was full-time. So there's been a big change. And I think, yeah, as Leah said, if we was 10 years younger, I think we would never probably see what people had to go through to just enjoy playing the game.
I love it. I love to feel like you're part of something, to feel like you're part of change is pretty special.
Lionesses is going to be part of the vocabulary of London from now on, across stations and maps and everywhere. It's going to be just in big lights. You look at this. This has been released just now. This is a map of your line.
I just think you look at the places as well. Like this probably means a lot to you because, like, you grew up
in London.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to take the Piccadilly line from one end to the other just to get to training. So I used to live on the Underground, and to see this is crazy. But I think the line starting at Euston's massive because there's so many people up and down the country, and everyone always coming into Euston. It's a start of, like, I'm in London now, and the Lioness is right in your face. It's huge, not just for Londoners, but people travelling from the north as well, getting down to Euston, and then the Lioness is there, and that's home London.
What do you think the impact's going to be? What do you hope the impact will be?
Well, first of all, like, if you think about football in this country and the fact that we were banned, it has been male dominated for so long, and now Wembley, which is the home of football, we're leading them to it. It's women at the forefront of it.
And especially making your way to Wembley, you're going on the Lionesses line. Like, that's where we've created so much history, and for the futures, like the young girls, like, I can get on the Lioness line to go to Wembley to watch a game, and I can also dream to play at Wembley one day. It's huge.
How do you think it might affect as well people who aren't young girls? How it might affect, perhaps it might affect adults as well, or perhaps even men. They'll change their opinion, hopefully, or maybe.
Well, that's what we've been fighting for so long as well. Is we have allies in the game, like male allies, but the biggest barrier to women is the opinion of a man. It has been forever, because that's the way the world was run, and it was men in charge, and it's like we needed their permission to do something, whereas that's changing within football. But also you hope that those little boys, like, they just grow up and they don't see any difference. It's the same as anything we talk about. I don't know, you have homophobia, racism, sexism, like, it's all rooted in generations and generational opinion. And instead of waiting for those generations to phase out, for want of a better word, and everyone knows what that means, we can affect change now, and we can convert those opinions. But I think kids, that's why everything we've ever done has been centered around children and trying to impact children, because that's where, yeah, you might have to wait for 10, 15 years to see the fruits of that, but that's where you make the biggest impact.
You're both, products, I suppose, as well, of having inspiring individuals when you were both very young, weren't you, as well, around you?
Yeah, for sure. Of course, I think having that positive mindset of being allowed to do what we are. I grew up in a house of 5 boys, but I never once was told I couldn't play. But there's households where you might have been told you can't. And I think, like Leah said, it's changing those mindsets of people that are negative towards the sport. And if they get the train to Euston, they'll know that we're here to stay and we're not going anywhere. And women's football's on the up.
My mind has been blown the past few days, and I didn't. I'm genuine. I didn't really care about football, but I've watched you guys in clips. Which one of you was it, the Nigerian team when the play? I think you scored against one of the in goal. Was it one of you guys who had in? It was, yeah, and you went and you sort of go to the cameras to naff off right away. I was like, that wouldn't normally happen in a men's game, I don't think. But it just showed a human side, a different element to it, and an approachable side.
I think we've always had the space. That's the one beautiful thing about women's football. We've always had a space to be as human as we wanted to be and to show as much of that side as we wanted to be. Men's football has, I think, it used to be this way that you couldn't be anything other than an athlete and a footballer, and it had to be everything. And the women's game has never held that. It's a reason why we have a big LGBTQ plus presence, because there's no opinions, there's no judgment. Yeah, you be who you want to be, and you encourage people to walk through the gates that are the same. No one's excluded. No one, and I can say that confidently. And it's the same in a changing room, which I think makes a difference. And it's also when you were speaking about the line and what it actually symbolises and what you hope for the future, our next step is diversifying the game. Like, ultimately, we had an all-white starting 11 for that game, which doesn't represent the country, and it doesn't represent the young girls that maybe are interested. So if you think about who this line accesses and who gets on these trains, and you're taken in a city, which is where we have the most diversity, and we should be accessing those, but in the past maybe we haven't. And I think it's another example to them that they are part of it. And like I say, women's football, the funding hasn't allowed us to go into the city and find those players that otherwise feel excluded, when they're just watching on the telly. So I think it's another opportunity for that.
Next station, Wembley Central.
God, I have to say, wow. They were incredible women. And I feel a bit swept up. And the excitement. Because Chloe and Leah have left me with genuine amazement and awe at what they and their teammates have actually achieved, and their dedication. And they are changing football. And actually, perhaps the world, really, for the next generation and for women and girls everywhere. Perhaps then this new Lioness line is an opportunity perhaps to share those achievements with London and the millions of people that use the Overground each year. But our story hasn't quite reached its final destination yet, because, like the game, this is a podcast of two halves. So I need someone to explain to me, without all the PR puff around it, what is the real impact of those amazing women on football generally, preferably by someone who lives and breathes this stuff. So that is why we've zipped along today the route of the Lioness line to Wembley Central Overground station, because round the corner is that magical place, that hallowed turf, a place perhaps I thought still had two towers on it, because I don't really follow football very often. Yeah, it's Wembley Stadium. England's national football stadium, the site of that glorious Euros 2022 win that Chloe and Leah were talking all about. And because she said to those nice people at Wembley Stadium, we're TFL, and we're making a nice podcast about the Lionesses, they said, don't just stand outside it, come on inside. So, we're going in. Well, we've come up now inside Wembley Stadium, up to the corridors and the escalators, all the way past the entrances, and I can stand here looking out now across this sea of red, all the seating, the thousands of seats, like there's 90,000 seats out there apparently, for football fans, and also you can hear some sounds out there for pop fans as well, because this is actually in rock fans. Bruce Springsteen is being set up now in Wembley Stadium beyond there, so you'll hear the sounds beyond. That is the crew, their cranes, putting together the big soundstage with Bruce Springsteen tonight. But actually, this is predominantly a sports venue rather than being a pop and rock venue. In fact, actually, it is the second largest sports venue in Europe, and indeed Britain's largest sports venue. But imagine how exciting it was on 31st July 2022, because that was when the Lionesses went there. England women's team lifted their trophy above their head. But we're here not to talk necessarily about that day, but actually we're here to talk about one football fan in particular. Just them and me sitting here on the edge, because that person is dedicated to the sport and getting people achieving in it. And she is so passionate, enthusiastic about it. I mean, she is my expert guest now. I am genuinely so privileged to be able to talk here in this incredible environment to Surekha Griffiths, who actually works at TFL, bizarrely. But we're not talking about TFL. Surekha, welcome to Wembley Stadium.
Amazing. Never get bored of this. Never get bored of being at Wembley Stadium.
Now, you've been here before, haven't you? Because let's just talk about what is your role and why on earth have you been here before?
Well, I am a level 7 referee with a local county FA, Middlesex FA, but I was lucky enough to be invited here to receive an award last year for Grassroots Referee of the Year, which was just unbelievable, amazing, and still not over it. Sorry. Year on, I'm still not over it.
I can imagine. I can see this. You walked in, your eyes lit up
Yeah.
when you came into this building. We saw you here. Met you down the reception. We walked up through all those corridors, up through here. How come you won that award? What led to it?
I qualified, so I'm in my late 40s now. I was 45 when I qualified as a referee a couple of years ago, and I have never done anything really in sport. Always loved watching football, but I've got 2 sons who play for a grassroots football team, on a weekend. Okay. So my husband and I would take them every weekend. Fantastic parents and team, but there'd always be one parent, usually a dad, actually always a dad or a coach, who'd be pushed onto that pitch like literally last minute. Right, can you referee? Here's a whistle. Could you referee the game? Okay. So it was my kids, actually, my 2 boys, who they're now 11 and 13. So they were about, let's say, what were they, 9 and 11 at the time. They were the ones who were nudging me, saying, "Mum, you should referee." And I was like, "Nope." And my husband was like, "Yes, you should." And I loved that. I loved that they didn't actually nudge their dad, because my husband absolutely will happily admit he hates football. He loves watching me referee. He loves watching the kids play football, but he has no interest in watching football, and he doesn't know the laws of the game. He doesn't know the rules of football or anything.
You've now become this expert, and you specialise, I think, in a particular area.
Yeah, it is pan-disability. And it's an adult league that I mainly referee regularly, but there is the youth leagues coming up as well. Effectively, it's people who have varying levels of disabilities who play for teams, and they effectively get a tournament every month or a couple of times a month where they get to play each other. And really, we're just focusing on ability, and parents get together on the sidelines. Parents who've, some of these parents are, much older because they've had to care for their children who are now perhaps, similar age to me now, all their lives. And the fact they get to do something so positive, come onto a pitch, see their children or their family members or their brothers or their sisters, go onto that pitch, just shout in passion, be happy, get that adrenaline running about sport, and forget their pain that they wake up with every day, forget the disabilities they wake up with every day. It just touches me. I just think it's unreal. And I love that community that comes together to do that. The same level of passion on the pitches you see anywhere, but you'll see it 10 times on those pitches, because these people wait for that tournament every month or every couple of weeks just to let out and run around and be amongst sort of almost people who are sort of, in a fair field, basically, because you're usually put in teams with people who are of similar ability to you, and you play against teams who have a similar ability to you.
You say this, but are there, I'm assuming, different rules or adjusted rules for different abilities, I guess, so that is fair?
Actually, all I'm really there to do as a referee, whoever I'm refereeing, really, essentially, is I'm not the boss of the field. Actually, I should be as invisible as possible. My thinking is I'm there to make sure every single player is it's kept safe. And effectively, I'm only there to make a decision on the grey areas. So, black and white is black and white. If the ball's gone off, it's gone off. And if you kicked it off, it's the other person's ball. But it's if we're not sure, then I'll make that decision. I just have to be firm and make that decision. And that's what I'm there for. It's like being a parent, really, isn't it? It's just making a decision on, right, you can go to bed first, or you can go to the room, or you can go and brush your teeth first. You're making a decision, aren't you? You're just making a decision. And that's all, because actually, it's because you're always going to let down. Every decision is you let down 50% of the pitch as far as they're concerned. But, I'm there to make a decision on the grey areas. So
I love your perspective of this. It's fascinating. It really is. And how did the award, though, come about? Because you said to me, I've been here before. I've been here to accept an award. I was like, hang on a minute, hang on.
Well, so remember, I've only been in football for a couple of years now, so it's all still new to me. It's still exciting to me, and I think when it doesn't become exciting to me, I'll stop, because I've got a job. I do it because I love it, and it keeps me excited and it gives me a buzz to turn up. So for me, when I got an email last year about this time saying you've been nominated for an award by my county FA, actually it was.
So your county football
First of all, my county, which is Middlesex, and I said, oh, this is interesting. And it's just like an email. I thought, I said to my husband, I said, I've been nominated for some sort of award. Great, lovely. And then a couple of weeks later said, you've been nominated for an England FA award, Grassroots Referee of the Year. I thought, again, this is another circular type thing. I thought, oh, this is nice. Then I got a phone. Then I got a phone call from my county saying, you've been invited along to the awards. I said, okay. So I went along to the awards, the county awards, and I won it. And I was in absolute shock because the nominees are people that I am learning from now. And it was all to do with my input into the disability leagues. But what was amazing, and I think really what matters, is not holding a trophy or being able to, go to an awards ceremony, and which was amazing. But it was the fact that the nominee came from the players in the Disability League, and that meant a lot because they're the one. Then you're making a difference. You're making it's not a waste, and then you think, okay, that's great. And then a week later, I got a call from England FA saying, you were nominated for an award. I'm like, yeah. And in my mind, I think, oh, yeah, but that one I just won. They go, no, you were nominated for an England FA award. I said, yeah. They go, well, you're the winner. And then It was like, right, now I'm confused.
I'm intrigued. Getting that phone call from the FA, I'm intrigued because I've recently learned some of the history behind women's football, I suppose, actually. And traditionally, I use that word advisedly, there have been very, very few women involved in this sport, haven't there? And so getting a phone call from the FA, who regulate that sport, must have been perhaps tempered with some sort of other emotion as well, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Because it wasn't a female-only award. It was a Grassroots Referee award. Men win it, female win. And it was, I guess, I can't ignore the fact that I am a female and I'm Asian, I'm Indian. That's something that's up and coming, but that's certainly not something that was present when I was growing up. So it is a new thing. And obviously I'm older as well. So I'm not necessarily as young as the referees you'll see out and about. I started at an older age. So I'm kind of against a lot of the stereotypes. So yeah, I do see that there's this whole, it's great that the way that this is changing, the women's game in general is changing. Putting aside refereeing, just grassroots football in general, when I'm out on those pitches, and this is where I guess the Lionesses come into it. You see people are watching football and females, boys are looking up to female footballers too. We all know, my sons know the names of the female football team. They know the Lionesses' names, and that's not necessarily something that, we would have known years ago. I don't think I knew any female football names when I was growing up.
When they had that win back in 2022, did you watch that live? Did you watch it? I'm assuming you did with your family.
Family, my dad. We were screaming our heads off. It didn't matter. We were like animals. It was horrible. But that is what it should be. And what I love is the WhatsApp groups were buzzing in the same way as they do when we were watching the Euros finals, a couple of weeks ago. So, but that's what sport should bring is, the joy. You learn to lose as well, but it was great that we all got the chance to win. I love seeing that story. I love it. I can see those, the Chloe Kellys and the Lauren Jameses on those pitches. I can see those people on the grassroots fields now. I see the skill, I see the passion, I see the encouragement as well. It was just fantastic.
You do actually work at TFL, don't you?
I do.
What do you do at TFL?
I love working at TFL. I do. I've been there for a long time, so I've worked there. I'll tell you, I've been there since 2005, done various different roles, but currently work in network performance. It's a fantastic directorate where we basically look after all of sort of the works and traffic signals around London. Such amazing people who do such amazing things. I'm in awe all the time. And I work in the support team, which is great, but also get to sort of see the problems that people have, because I deal with the queries that come in and the mayor's questions and things. So I get to see the things that matter to people who are our customers, basically, and to help solve them by getting the right teams to give a sufficient answer or to change things. Because that's what we, at the end of the day, Londoners are the eyes and ears on the network for us. So that's what I do for TFL at the moment.
Imagine yourself in a few months' time stepping off an overground train, not far away from here, and travelling to Wembley on the new Lioness line. How are you going to think about and feel, do you think, thinking I'm on the Lioness line now?
First of all, what a perfect name. Lionesses, like a pride of Lionesses, because they brought us so much pride, so perfect name. I think it's an amazing way to mark an amazing occasion, an amazing moment in our history. It just seems really appropriate. I think it's going to be I'm just really proud. I think it's fantastic. to have a name that represents, this city so well.
Hand on heart, I was completely ignorant about the incredible, and I mean incredible, remarkable force that is women's football, and how it is just swept into daily life for so many British people. I didn't know that. I didn't know what and how and why these amazing, incredible Lionesses have achieved. I mean, not just in winning trophies, but in changing the hearts and the minds of people across cultural and social divides right across this country. And speaking with Surekha, I can actually see, I think now, what the Lionesses perhaps mean to people and how they inspire people to go a bit further, a lot further, believe in themselves and pursue what they really, really love doing. And to me, the Lionesses, they're more than just a special team. Every player story is about truly winning against the odds. And my feeling is their collective name on the London Overground isn't just well-deserved, but it's an immortal reminder that anything is possible. After being kept on the sidelines, being an underground sport for so long, women's football is now out in the open. It's gone mainline, it's gone overground. And thanks to these incredible women, extraordinary women, women's football isn't just here to stay, it is ready to thrive. And that is what I'll be thinking next time I'm on my way to Euston. Thanks for listening to Mind the Gap. I've been your host, Tim Dunn, and this is a podcast created by 1860 for TFL. The producer is Marnie Woodmead. Executive producer for TFL is Adrian Hieatt. Executive producer for 1860 is Gareth Evans, and mix is by Rowan Bishop.